Okay, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Graveyard with yours truly and Christina Corzetti.
Hello, everybody.
And real quick, before we get into this, I want to throw a little disclaimer up here for you guys. Yes, we do smoke on here. And yes, there may be a foul word now and then. So if you have young ones, you might want to screen that. Just so we don't what's the word hurt any young ears. Wouldn't want to do that. Hey, Jerry, welcome.
Oh, Jerry's up. Hi, Jerry.
We are going to be talking about, and this is the Paranormal Graveyard, you guys, and we are going to be talking about demons and evil spirits tonight. And you gotta love some good, interesting stuff like this. Roger had a haircut. Yes, I did. I love it. Okay, we're going to start this out like we always do. Christina's going to lead us in here, and we will get going. So everybody, be prepared.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. Throughout religion, folklore, mythology, and occultism, a demon is a supernatural being described as something not quite human. In ancient Near Eastern religions and Christian demonology, a demon is believed to be an unclean spirit, which may cause demonic possession. Therefore, an act of exorcism would be necessary to draw the spirit out. In Western occultism, a demon is a supernatural being with the ability to be conjured and controlled. In literature, many demons were once fallen angels, while others were said to be forged in hell itself. While some believe a demon refers to superhuman beings who are not gods, it deals both with good beings who have no worshiper or limited to the rank below the gods, and with evil beings of all kind. The original sense of demon from the time of Homer onward was that of a good being, but in English, the name now holds the distaste of evil beings. So,
Demonic influence is the state of being possessed by an entity created by the human mind. It is to be possessed by thinking that creatures suffering for ourselves and others. Most people suffer, albeit in varying degrees, from their mind. It may be a little or a lot, and some may cause others to suffer with them too. Demons can also reference human disembodied spirits, earthbound spirits, ghosts, etc., who have not progressed beyond death of the physical body unto love, joy, and peace. These people can also be viewed as the unclean spirits of which Jesus spoke of within the Bible. Ghosts are symbolically unclean because they have not yet entered the light and life review, a transforming transition from mental suffering to eternal awareness of being that normally occurs when one exits the earth planes of existence or physically dies. The light can dissolve the mind's hold on the spirit, freeing him or her of mental and emotional suffering. Ghosts may be considered unclean, untimely, because they have not been freed from their false selves and remain in darkness. Blind to their condition, spirits that come from the light are holy, and as in Holy Spirit or pure spirit. Pure spirit simply refers to those who come from the place of light and not darkness, unlike an unclean spirit.
that's very interesting.
So basically, it's referring to when someone passes on, whether they was good, bad, or ugly, as clinics would say, they're unclean as far as
Going through the light. They haven't made that transition yet.
Yeah, that's
Like earthbound spirits and ones that wander and that haven't made that transition, they're calling unclean, and that's where the evil spirits can come from.
okay. You want to carry on there?
Well, in truth, everyone has this light or purity within them as it is their deepest being. The question is whether or not we are aware of it. We might say that those who are aware are conscious of their inner being, and those who are not aware are unconscious, unaware of anything beyond the grasp of their thinking minds. Unconsciousness, darkness, is the condition of unclean spirits or ghosts. Darkness symbolically represents
Oh,
a
sorry about
a lack of understanding, the state of being lost, unaware who we are. Light is love, joy, peace, and truth. It is a river of life that runs through us when we are turned into it. Demonology is the study of demons or beliefs about demons. Demons, when regarded as spirits, may belong to either of the classes of spirits recognized as human, non-human, separable souls, or discarnate spirits which have never inhabited a body. So demonology, through often refers to with negative feelings, was not always seen as evil or devilish as the term would have one believe. The word demonology is derived from Damien, meaning divinity, divine entity, divine power, God. So
that's interesting stuff. You know, one of the things that bugs me in the paranormal field, and it really does whenever you have people that go into somebody's house and tell them, oh, you got demons running all over the place, you know, because whether they do or don't is beside the point. You know, you are putting more fear into these people's lives. You know, your job basically is to uh, find out whether or not they do have, and if they do have, if you do not know how to deal with it, you find somebody that can deal with it. You bring them in, take care of the problem, and try to keep the client themselves as peaceful as possible. You know, you don't want them being terrified even worse than they already are when they call you in the first place.
correct.
So that's just one thing. You talk about demonology. I'd love to have a demonologist on my team. I really would, in case I run across something like that, which I haven't yet.
Well, they're saying that demons can be that of human, even though they're not human. They're calling them demons when they should be actually calling them evil spirits, because how you are in life, you are going to be in death.
Exactly.
You know, if you were a jerk in life, you're going to be a real jerk in death.
You have demons and you have minions, and I'm not sure I understand all that. Can a minion be a human that is working with a demon, or?
Yeah, no, I understand.
You know, I mean, there's a lot I don't know about demonic stuff, and I probably need to study up on that just in case. But that's why stuff like this is interesting. You can learn a lot of things.
Absolutely.
I get the gnarly ones.
Mm.
Okay. Some societies believe that all affairs of life are under the control of spirits, each with their own element or even object, and even themselves in subjection to a greater spirit. Often souls dwelling in another world are not counted in the demon list. Gods are often not necessarily seen as being entirely spiritual and may come in fleshy bodies. Demons are often seen the same as both spiritual and corporeal. Vampires are often seen as another form of said demons, along with incubi and succubi. Incubi and succubi have been noted to produce offspring, though often deformed. Belief in demons, demonology goes back many millennia and may be as old as man and often older. And I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this word right. The Zoroastrian faith teaches that there are 3,333 demons that live among us and are responsible for such things such as war, starvation, sickness, etc. Haunted
That's interesting.
people do exist, but just because odd behavior from an individual is witnessed or a nasty supernatural attack is truly experienced does not mean that a non-human entity is at work behind it. And I will believe that. I think that you have, and it's just like what you just said, and pardon my French, this is why I put the disclaimer up, but if you're an asshole in life, you're going to be an asshole in death.
Correct.
You know, you're going to do things in the afterlife probably more so than you did in reality of this life, because you probably have more ways of doing it.
Yeah, you become mischief, and that's where the evilness comes from.
Not being seen, of course. You can sneak up on somebody. You don't have to worry about coming right up behind them, smack them in the head, you know, all kind of stuff. So yeah, there's evil spirits out there that are not demonic, just so we get that separated. They're not demonic. They're just being what they were in life, only probably worse in the afterlife because they have better means of doing stuff. And depending on how powerful that spirit is, what they will do to you, and spirits can and will hurt you.
If they're given the chance, if they can manifest.
Yeah, they can and will hurt you no matter what anybody says. They can and will attach to you, follow you home.
Yes.
Cause you all kind of problems.
Even make you have urges to do certain things that could be evil.
That is not normally you.
Exactly.
You know, if you start getting urges to do things that is not your normal personality, after you have just done an investigation somewhere with severe claims, and you all of a sudden start, you know, acting weird and doing stuff you wouldn't normally do, think about that. You may have brought you a visitor home. So, you know that you need to be seeking someone, if you don't know how to do it yourself, to get rid of it. So anyway.
Well, being haunted Salem, right, Roger?
Exactly.
I deal a lot with demonic cases, you know, through, you know, and I help them personally, and my team helps. And the thing is that it's a real darkness that these people go through, and they don't even know they're doing things half the time, especially if they're like partially possessed in a way, because they've been with this evil spirit or demon for so long that it's, you know what I mean? It's a very dark way of living. And I actually witnessed that a lot through talking and helping cases that I've been involved with. So it is a very, very different way. You're not yourself.
Well, and also sometimes these spirits will manifest themselves in you very slowly, so that you don't really notice what's going on. You just, you know,
exactly,
kind of changing your personality, and then all of a sudden one day you wake up like, why am I acting like this? You know? So yeah, that's some crazy stuff here, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm at where I stopped at here.
All right. Well, I know where we stopped. Well, basically, even if a hateful spirit is behind the paranormal activity, the use of superstitious or religious rites may only temporarily halt the negative behavior. This is because haunting and for purpose of the show, spirit possession is often misunderstood, mislabeled, and misdiagnosed. When frightening paranormal activity occurs, especially if it is results in change of normal human behavior, which we're talking about, people
Right.
tend to jump to conclusion, fearing the worst. They believe that spirit possession is demonic in nature, meaning a non-human entity is residing within the person exhibiting odd behavior. Shadow ghosts are earthbound people who have not progressed beyond this earth, having chosen to remain behind the humanity. Ghosts are held captive here by their mind. Basically, what they're saying is they don't want to move on. They don't know what to expect. So they stay back, and that's what these earthbound spirits do. Is they're afraid of what's on that other side,
Well,
going to the light. Getting out of the darkness that their mind is in.
I had a discussion with somebody recently talking about why spirits would stay here.
Mm-hmm.
The Limp Mansion, if you're familiar. The guy owned the brewery. He passed on. He was a real jerk, from what I understood. He blasted his son all the time, like, telling him how much of a failure he was and blah, 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 blah. Well, when he passed on, the business went to his son,
Yeah.
who wound up selling it because he, I guess, couldn't handle it or got into a bad financial deal or something. He wasn't able to. But anyway, after he passed, he was afraid to move on because he knew his father was going to be waiting on the other side to blast him about that.
Yes. No, he could have that fear, but it might, you know what I mean? It's not like it's going to happen.
Right.
But,
when you go through ordeals like that in life, it follows you when you go. So,
oh yeah, all the baggage you have in life is the same baggage you have
you're
on the other side.
Scared to death to cross over because somebody's waiting over there and it's going to give you more hell when you get there.
Yeah.
So there's lots of reasons why a spirit would remain over here. And you have the cases where it's a family member that sticks around to watch over their family, or especially if somebody in their family is going through a hard time and they're worried that they're not going to make it through okay. So they're kind of, they're watching over them, making sure everything goes okay and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what spirit rescue is too, is helping these earthbound spirits and moving them into the light and showing them that it is okay to cross.
Yeah.
Because you can always come back once you've made that transition. You can always come back. So, you try and get these earthbounds out of the darkness they're in and move them. And that's what this next thing is saying. If a ghost does not undergo a cleansing review of their life and reunite with loved ones who await in spirit, which is the light, then he or she will continue to carry around the emotional baggage earned from the time spent on earth while in the body. And that's what we were just saying. The darkness these ghosts have as a continuance, meaning their thick, black static appearance, does not necessarily mean the spirit is a rotten egg with ill intentions. Darkness is indicative of a lack of understanding, ignorance, being lost, and of course, negativity.
That is so true.
Yes.
Paul said they were my minions over there. Paul, you're a nut. It's like shopping on eBay. Okay, Mary said there's attachments, infestation, and oppression and possession, and that is true. But not all of your possessions are demonic. Okay. I do believe that human spirits can take over your body if they so choose, and they have the strength and will to do it. And it depends on what reasoning they would have behind doing it. If they're assholes on the other side, they could do it to torture you. If they're, good spirits over there, they could do it to help someone through you. There's lots of reasons for that. Okay, now that I've thoroughly interrupted you, continue, please.
A frightening continuance does not make disembodied people menacing. Inhuman beings who work for the devil. We can find many a scary looking person in our world who are truly nice, good-hearted souls. In other words, appearance can be deceiving. Don't judge a book by its cover. Some dark spirits can be very negative and troublesome, however, but so can people who live in our world and have bodies. One need only read the local news for a recount of daily troubles. From the accounts we have uncovered, we tend to think that some ghosts have learned that they can co-inhibit another person's body, or at least influence their behavior in some fashion. This is commonly referred to as spirit possession, but would be better termed as ghost possession.
Right.
And I think we were talking about that as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel better, some investigators of the paranormal call this phenomenon attachment or negative energy. No matter what one might label this freakish thing, it is not possession by one of Satan's minions, as some might have you to believe. And that's what I was trying to get across.
Yeah.
Everything appears to be ever connected. We might consider haunting as invisible influences or disruptions in our lives from unseen people who are with us. When you attend school as a child, you were likely immersed into an environment with lots of classmates and some teachers. Each one of these people had the ability to impact your life, your perspective in some way. Each day brought different experiences and lessons. The idea of spirit influence is our personal lives and similar, except we just can't see our spirit teachers or fellow students. Very, very true. Why or how does ghost possession happen? Ghosts are said to possess people for many reasons. Attachment or possession can occur by accident, to assist the one whom they have possessed, and that's what I just said a while ago, to continue experiencing physical life, and there's one that I didn't think of, to experience former physical addictions. Now, I don't know how that would work.
Well, hold on one second. What happens is these spirits, the ghosts, because spirits are ones that have crossed, ghosts are not. The ghosts, they can attach to you as a physical attachment, okay, and they'll be able to feel what you feel. So
Okay.
if you're getting, high off of drugs or whatnot,
Yeah, okay.
they're going to get the high off you.
Okay. Now I understand.
And that's what.
Due to strong attachment to earthly possessions or loved ones, and I brought that up, from trauma, not even understanding they have died because they are in fact still alive, to menace or harm another person for revenge or just for the fun of it. There's your asshole type I was talking about.
Yes.
Could demons be our negative thoughts? We tend to think that such an allegory, whatever it is,
allegory,
makes sense, especially when considering the holes found in most religious demonology dogma. When one investigates the origin of the word demon, it becomes clear how traditional Christian church teachings about demons were created by men for control over people. There you go, and I'll give that a big fat amen. Its roots being founded in fear. So let's dig deeper into what demons might actually represent and how that might impact us. People possesses power. We have the power to create with our mind. That means we also have the power to miscreate. Through our own misthinking or misunderstanding, we often miscreate, energizing, animating, giving life to thoughts of error, turning them into something that can appear to us as real as the nose on our face. Our inner fears are the root of this. If left unchecked, fear is darkness. And even though we may be able to create something false behind that darkness within, there is no substance. There is not an opposite of truth, just the appearance that the false can be true. Inner darkness, our own erroneous thinking, is unknowingly given temporary existence and residence by us. And when it manifests, it does so as an outward projection, revealing the inner condition, our false beliefs. Remember, whatever is true is real and exists. Whatever is false can never be real and does not exist. Our thoughts often carry us away to where fear can be found, but does that make it real? Are your thoughts real? So when we see or experience darkness, we need to remember not to believe it as real, but attempt to allay any fears, viewing the situation rationally. Fearful situations are temporarily dependent upon one's perspective and will disappear when the light of truth exposes the illusion, revealing a grander picture. The fearing mind is powerful and will take liberties to embellish a situation if given the chance. And this is what hell is: the power of the mind turned upon itself. If one believes he or she is being attacked by 1,000 flying monkeys, then the mind, through fear, has the power to create the experience as something very real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is some of the stuff that I was trying to get at earlier, because everybody runs around screaming demon, 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 and it's not always a demon, and sometimes it's not even a spirit. Sometimes it's just the person's mind playing tricks on them.
Yeah.
If you have, and this happens a lot of times, if you live in an old house, for instance, where the wiring is old and faulty, the high EMF will give you the heebie-jeebies. It'll make you feel like you're being watched. It'll make your skin itch. Rashes can appear. Whelps can appear. You have rattling pipes from an old furnace or something, or boiler, or whatever you have in this house. If they do that 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're thinking, oh my God, there's a ghost in my house. It's making noises. It's doing this. It's doing that. It is really easy for the power of the mind to play tricks on you and make you believe something's there when it's not.
Correct.
So that kind of pretty much explained all that, what we see and what we project. And if, depending on the power of somebody's mind, the power of suggestion is a really, really powerful tool. And I proved this one time. I actually made my brother sicker than a dog one time when there was nothing wrong with him. I felt bad afterwards, but I just wanted to prove that it would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt really terrible because he got plumb down bed sick.
Oh, wow.
And when he got up that day, he was fine. But anyway, the power of suggestion, the power of the mind. If you believe in your mind that there's a demon in your house, you can create one in your house.
Yeah, you can.
And for all purpose, things will happen that you think that demon would do. And you're projecting this with your own thoughts, believe it or not.
And fears.
And fears, yes.
Yep.
And I don't care how many demonologists or bishops or whoever you bring in there to get rid of this demon, it's not going to work because there's not a demon there to start with. Now, if they come in and do this, the only way that would possibly work is if they come in and do this and you believe in what they did actually worked and cleansed this demon from your house, then it might also cleanse that demon from your mind, and therefore, yes, it could possibly work.
That's a good point.
You get into a lot of weird things when you think about all this stuff, you know.
Yep.
What would happen if you created a demon in your house from your mind, and everything was going on to make you think, yeah, this demon's doing all this stuff to me. You know, I've got to get this demon exorcised. Well, if you brought in a demonologist or or exorcist or what have you to cleanse your house, they may or may not find proof that there's something in your house. I don't know how they would do that if it's created by your mind, but still, if they did a cleansing, they did an exorcism of your house, and they told you that this demon was gone, that everything was, then that possibly would also exorcise that demon from your mind, and therefore there would be no more activity.
But it wouldn't work if they were in the house versus attached to you. Because I know cases where the person is actually haunted, not the house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They'd have to do an exorcism on you.
You'd have to do an exorcism on you, because doing one on the house wouldn't work.
I'm just saying, if you created this demon from your mind,
no,
and
I know.
Real,
yeah,
then you would have to believe that what they did exorcised that demon.
Yeah.
And then you would exorcise that demon yourself from your mind, because you felt like they did their job, the demon's gone.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to think about. Real Paranormal UK, thanks for coming. Faith is the strongest weapon against them. You're right there. Hello, Angela. Now, do you remember where I was? Because I don't. Are you there? Hello? Did I lose? Oh, good God. There, I went, clicked the wrong button again. There it comes. No. Get off my screen. Okay, for some reason you're muted there and I can't unmute you.
Yeah, no, I had to do it.
Oh, okay.
I had to take a phone call. I'm sorry.
I
apologize.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, however, if one understands truth ventures upon another person's fearful experience, that person who is free from the illusion will be capable of seeing through the darkness. He or she will be able to help undo the false beliefs in others by being the light that shines into the thinking. And I think that's what you were talking about right there, Roger. The person who sees can show those who don't that their fears are not found in the present moment. Fears are rooted elsewhere. So evil spirits, now they are masters of deception and manipulation. The most dangerous ones mix lies with truth and get you all confused about you think that you know the truth and that nothing is wrong. In everyday life situations, they would convince you that nothing is wrong with what you're doing, even though you feel it is wrong and that it is no good for you. Yet it feels good. And if you don't do it, you feel like you're missing out on something.
Okay, that's kind of how my wife has the whatchamacallit, where you have to wash your hands so many times, you do the ritualistic things. You know, you have to check to make sure you turn the stove off 50 times.
Yeah.
Make sure you lock the door, all this kind of stuff. You know, if you feel like if you don't do that, something's going to happen or it's going to be bad. So it kind of reminded me of that. It's sort of similar.
All right. Well,
there you go. I couldn't think of it.
That's okay. Evil spirits seek to control others. These are the ghosts of people who are often negative in their physical life as well. People are all different, and we both negative and positive people in and out of fleshy bodies. A negative spirit person is controlling just like most negative people with human bodies. Think about manipulative people who are selfish. Often they are type A personalities, meaning they can be impatient, competitive, aggressive, controlling, and capable of relaxing and often hostile. Evil spirits seek to control and manipulate people. It does not matter whether the person they wish to control has a body or not. Ghosts, such as these, often know who they are and were adept at messing with people's minds. Their influence can be as simple as using negative thoughts to bring people to think incorrectly about themselves or others. Other times, they might try controlling the thoughts of others to a great extreme. This is known as attachment or ghost possession. During cases of ghost possession, it is not uncommon for the possessed to have more than one earthbound spirit attached to them. Guess who controls not only the possessed, but the other ghost? Our type A negative spirit is in charge of the possessed person's mind, and the other ghosts who have brought them along with them. Now, you often hear when we go to cases, Roger, like, you know, one spirit in the room that has maybe 10 spirits in it, they're not coming through because the one spirit is controlling them by saying, you better not answer them.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what they're talking about. Like sheep afraid of their shepherd, the other ghost will not try and move on as long as he keeps them there. Often after the controlling spirit is removed, then other negative entities leave quite easily, sometimes on their own. So evil spirits are capable of controlling all people, no matter what manner they are.
That is so true. And many spirits that choose to be evil do so to have a good time, having often been former victims of human abuse. Now, that brings up a thing, you know, if you were, let's just say, if you were abused, bullied, uh, made to feel inferior, you know, treated like a piece of crap in life, what are you going to do when you get over there on the other side? It's payback time, mother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if you can, you are going to get even with some of these people. And I can't really say as I blame them. You know, I mean, you know, the human mind can take so much abuse. And at some point, it's going to snap like a twig.
Yeah.
Well, if by any means, and even if you snap and they put you in a mental ward, you're probably not going to still be mental once you pass and you go across. You're going to be more of your former self.
Mm-hmm.
At least I would think so. And in that case, what's former self going to be thinking? It's payback time. You know, all you suckers, especially the ones that made me snap and put me in that daggum rubber room, I got some stuff for you. You know, I mean, I could see myself being like that. You know, yeah, you might
The
have got by with
revengeful
that crap
types.
when I was alive, but now it's your turn.
Yeah.
Okay, their behavior is sort of a retaliation, and that's what I was just saying, upon the human race. In general, a way to punish others for the injustices that the lost spirits have suffered. Exactly what I said. Evil spirits do indeed understand they are spirits of humans, what many call ghosts. Knowing who and where they are, they practice to improve their skills of manipulating others in the physical environment. Exactly. Many people want to call such knowledgeable spirits demons. No, it's just a ghost that's learning how to manipulate the area they're in so that they can use it to pay back people that were butt heads in life. But this will just cause the ghost to be more determined to use a person's own fear against them. Thank you. But this will just cause, okay, It is better to call them out onto the carpet by letting ghosts know you know what they are up to. Often when ghosts know the game is up, they lose some fight and in them and become more willing to listen to the person who desires to help them. Ghosts choose not to move on in their life journey ultimately due to fear. It may be fear of punishment, fear of ridicule, fear of having let a parent or sibling down, etc. Such spirits that choose to behave badly believe they are getting away with their crimes against humanity. But know deep down there will come a time when it must end. Evil spirits are the demons who are part of the kingdom of Satan, and there are 7 of them, name meaning of named character. Okay. Hittites, sons of Heth, equals terror. I'm assuming that's what that's saying.
That's what it means. Son of Heth means
Subliminal
terror.
torments, phobias, terror, depression, deceit.
They're talking about the 7 demons now.
Yeah, Garishites, clay dweller, focus on earthliness, unbelief in what cannot be seen. Amorites, mountaineer, satyr, one who has a high position from speech, obsession with earthly fame and glory, domineering. Canaanites, lowland trafficker in merchandise, addictions, perversions, exaggerated people pleasing. And Perizzites, and I don't think I've ever heard of that one, villager belonging to a poor village, limited vision, laziness, low self-esteem. Hivites, village people, rich village lifestyle, vision limited to enjoying an earthly inheritance. Hedonism, not sure what that is. Jebuits,
I'd say I was going to say you're doing excellent. You're doing excellent at pronouncing these demons.
Okay.
You know, Jebusites.
Jebusites, however you say that. Threshing place, trodden down and separated. Suppression of spiritual authority in fellow believers, legalism. Hittites, being spirits of terror and stealth, operators that attack the emotions and are the spirits behind nightmares and non-rational phobias such as claustrophobia and agoraphobia, exaggerated fear of dogs and fear of being in the dark. As anyone who has suffered from a phobia can testify, terror produces a sense of deep emotional despair and torment and causes a desire not to live anymore. Hittite spirits, therefore, are also behind suicides. A person who suffers from deep emotional despair usually falls into states of deep depression and sadness. So you have all these different things, and each one of these in the Bible is a different type of people, or
You have 7 of them in the kingdom. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, different.
And we're going over the 7. Evil spirits are the demons who are part of kingdom of Satan, and there are 7 of them. So the next one is Girgashites. They tend to focus on things that are visible. Girgashites are very analytical people who base their life decision on the pros and cons that their mind are able to perceive. Non-Girgashite believers are not easily distracted by what their mind can see, but instead focus on what God wants for their lives. These spirits are like pigs violently running down a steep incline on their way to drowning in the sea. Girgashites are not groaners. They have relinquished living for a higher vision, deciding in their hearts that they can be complete in their temporarily. This turns them into greedy pigs that grunt all day, devouring everything in sight in order to prove to themselves that temporary things can really make them complete. But since this is completely impossible for a human being to find completeness in temporary things, their Girgashite devouring becomes as ever-increasing hunger that will never be satisfied. Next, we can infer that the Amorite spirit is a spirit of self-exaltation. Amorites are fame seekers, seekers of human glory and greatness. Particularly all dictators in history are Amorites. People like Saddam Hussein, Fidel Castro, Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, who like to dominate and control others, who love to see pictures of themselves plastered all over cities and countries, and who love to see their subjects revere and worship them, are men whose hearts are possessed by an Amorite spirit. Amorites are people who like to dominate and rule over others. They tend to establish an imposing and seemingly immovable presence.
That's when you think about it. You saw Hitler's picture everywhere, plastered all over Germany, right?
Yeah.
You know, and Poland and everywhere he had dominion over at the time. It was all about him, do as I say. You know, that's a good example of that. Stalin was the same way. Okay, the spirits of homosexuality and lesbianism, along with all other sexual perversions, are Canaanite spirits. These spirits operate through people's emotions and make a concerted effort to shut off the person's mind. Since the mind is the part of the soul most related to making judgments, the conscience resides in the mind, and the mind is the one designed to store God's laws and apply them with wisdom and to make judgments. People who fall into alcoholism, which is a Canaanite spirit, generally start drinking through someone or something convincing them that heavy drinking is normal and being done by everyone else. That's false. Once the person's judgment against heavy drinking has been shut off, the person starts to drink, and soon the alcohol shuts off all sober judgment and inhibition, and the person goes into a strong and public display of emotions. Canaanite spirits are spirits of carnal excess and delusion. And let's see if I pronounce this right. Parasite.
Yeah.
Means belonging to a village. Villages have a connotation of smallness. People who grew up in a village are exposed to very limited opportunities of growth. Educational, cultural, and entertainment opportunities are scarce. If not careful, people who grow up in villages can develop a very limited vision of life. Dreams are easily spawned in an environment that stimulates people with options and opportunities. Since these are limited in a village, villagers are very likely not to dream of great things. And the few who do dream of making it out of the village in order to succeed in the big cities, since villages impart a sense of smallness, villagers tend to see themselves as small and insignificant people who are a small part of a small and insignificant community. People trapped by the parasite. I don't know necessarily if I buy that. Uh, I live in a small town, and I kind of like living in a small town. you know, and small towns would be to me kind of like what you would refer to as a village. Opportunities are there if people want to use them or take them and do with them what they can. It's up to the individual in that village whether or not they want to stay small and insignificant. That's my opinion. Okay, so
Yeah.
anyway, uh, where was I? Okay, not exactly sure. The parasite spirit, therefore, can lead to many generations of spiritual stagnation. Since stagnation always leads to poverty in the material in the spiritual realm, parasite spirits tend to produce many generations of spiritual and even liberal poverty. And I'll let you take over at the Hivite there, whatever, if I said that
All
right.
right. Yeah. Well, Hivite means villagers. Remember that parasite means belonging to a village, which is very similar to meaning of Havite. This implies that many of the things we said about the parasites also apply to the Hivites. As we said with the parasites, the parasites, villages have a connotation of limited vision, implying that Havitites also have a limited vision of life. Now, I know this is a little confusing, but we're just trying to decipher each one that we're talking about here. What makes them different from the parasites, however, is the way in which people under the influence of Havitite spirits limit their life. Since the word Havitite is related to the concept of life in Hebrew, we can infer that the Havitites' vision of life is not one that's limitation, poverty, and self deprecation, as in case of the parasites are. Now, basically, the Havitites love to live it up. They turn into people with few ambitions in life. All they want to do is travel around the world and have a good time. Some of you might be noticing that the Havitite spirit is, therefore, very common in people who have retired. Some people are prone to believe that they have nothing else to do in life but relax and enjoy the wealth they have accumulated during their lives. The last one we have here is the Jebusite, meaning thresher, which refers to the agricultural activity of beaten grain out of the husk. This was usually done through animals such as oxen, who were used to tread on the grain that were laid all over the threshing floor. From this, we can infer that the Jebusite spirits, being threshers, are spirits that trend or stomp on other people. Peoples whose hearts are infected by Jebusite spirits tend to be people who have not hesitated to put down and humiliate others. Bullies, what they're talking about, by stomping on people. Jebusites make a concerted effort to prevent them from growing taller. They like to make and deliberately put them down at any time to see these small people trying to establish their authority. They believe that certain people are inherently inferior without a right to manifest any kind of authority. According to Jebusites, small people should just shut up and concede because they are nobodies who will never amount to much. As some of you might already be thinking, the spirit of racism is a Jebusite spirit. Jebusites are enforcers of social castes. The Jebusite spirit is still swarming the church like a bad fly infestation, but not in its previous logistic strain. It now is a subtler, less conspicuous form. So, Roger.
So these things are like
They're like big bullies.
they're like
they
if you're
humiliate.
down, I want to make sure you stay down.
Yeah, they want to kick you while you're down.
You know, we don't want you ever entertaining the idea that you might be somebody worthwhile.
Exactly.
What is the best defense against evil spirits? The evil spirit that wishes to control another must do so through fear. Fear is the key to the car. Without fear, the controlling ghost is unable to grasp the mind of another through negative thoughts. How do you get rid of evil spirits? Okay, everybody listening, how do you get rid of evil spirits? Evil spirits are simply disembodied, lost human spirits, people who are emotionally hurting deep inside. The best way to get rid of them is to help them. All people need to know they are forgiven and loved, that they have value and can soar to great heights during their journey through life. Life never ends, so ghosts need to understand that their family, friends, and other loved ones await them in spirit and that they will be forgiven. There is no eternal punishment. Hell, in short, replace fear with love, and the soul of any person can be restored from darkness to light. There are many reasons that someone's home may experience a paranormal entity. There may be residual energy left from a previous resident or event. There may be an intelligent spirit who chooses not to move on or are trapped because of an anchor holding them to this realm. The toughest entity to remove is an entity that is attracted to a person's negative energy and feeds off of it.
Yeah, that's what they feed off. They feed off fear. They feed off weakness.
There are a number of different scenarios in how a location can become infested with a negative entity, such as a malevolent spirit, or worse, a negative non-human entity, including demons. They can be invited unintentionally or intentionally through the use of divination practices such as Ouija boards, thank you,
Yeah.
or even amateur EVP sessions. These entities can be unintentionally invited into a location. They can sense that someone is willing to communicate with the spirit world, and they use that opening to invade your space. Even attempts by a previous resident can cause problems for you. Locations in which there were even darker intentions, rituals, where evil has been invited in, is especially problematic for many years. In other words, if you move into a house that had a devil worshiping clan doing rituals in there, the chance that you're going to have something in your house is probably very positive. Getting rid of such positive demonic entities that may be present due to that is not an easy task.
Especially if they've been there for a long time.
Yeah, and although it may have been years since the rituals took place, it may still live there, and it would be still hard to get rid of it because that has become home to this entity. If that makes sense to you guys. Okay. And how would you like it if somebody come in and threw you out of your house?
Exactly.
So you can see where they'd be pissed off and like, you know, oh hell no. So just saying, you know, if you in a situation like that, you know, expect to have to fight like hell and expect that it's not going to go willingly and easily. Okay, where were I?
Well, next you have pool of negative energy is another way.
Pool of negative energy, yes.
Yes.
If a location has a history in which they were very strong emotions in the past, the location can be ripe for negative entities. It can range from former prisons to as common as a house where one member lived with mental illness or a debilitating progressive disease such as Alzheimer's or dementia. Now, I would have never thought of that, but attached to the environment, this is the most common scenario and one in which we deal with more often. negative entities are attracted to a particular location due to the energy available for them. They find a suitable habitat and they thrive off the environment. Now, as you've all heard, granite, crystal, different types of formations produce energy. And that is the type place that a spirit would just love, because they can feed off that energy to do whatever they wish. And depending on how smart that spirit is, and yes, they do have smart and dumb spirits, probably like they're smart and dumb people. So if they figure out how to manipulate that energy, they can give you one hell of a time. And that's also another reason why it would be hard to get rid of them, because they have so much energy to feed off of. So not only are they going to be feeding off the granite and the crystal and whatever is in the ground in that location, but they're also feeding off of your fear. So they have 3 times the energy to resist against you.
Yes.
Just a thought there. Attracted to the environment. This is most common. Okay, we did this.
Yeah, attracted to an individual. This is the last type.
Attracted to an individual. Inhuman entities can target an individual if they sense one's psyche is not strong enough to fend off attacks. Exactly. Therefore, the weak and the ones that are afraid are going to be the targets of most of these attacks. What are they attracted to? Raw human emotion. They thrive off of any negative energy from us. It can be as major as bitterness or an anger over being a victim of a heinous crime to trivial things such as stress and over a commute. They feed off of the negative energy and they thrive under these circumstances. Therefore, they will help to create these circumstances so that you give them what they need. Remember that. They can then exasperate the situation, thus creating more negative energy to feed off of. Some people can even have repressed memories create issues with nasty entities, and subconscious feelings can provide fuel. So this is basically what I was saying.
Yeah.
Some negative, yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Some negative emotions that provide fuel include anger, bitterness, fear, frustration, guilt, jealousy, regret, self-doubt, sorrow, etc. Any negative emotion will do. Some actions can provide energy such as yelling, fighting, arguments, and rebelliousness. Stress from our jobs, marriages, relationships, financial or health concerns are especially attracted to negative entities. You know, this is all things that we go through every day, and you don't think about it. You know, like if your job sucks and you hate it, you're constantly, when you're there, you're just like, I don't want to be here. I hate this place. You know,
well, that's what they want. They want you to be miserable.
Yeah. And if you have an attachment spirit that's feeding off of this, they're going to be like, yeah, you tell them, go on, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they want you in this form of negative turmoil. You know, if you, and a lot of times people don't realize this, but if you fight with your spouse whom you happen to love very much, and you find yourself fighting with them a lot, you know, and the arguments just keep building and building and getting more intense, that's because that's what they're feeding from. They want this kind of, you know, negative emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you know, they're going to want you to fight with your wife or husband, etc., or your children or whoever it may be, your friends, anybody.
Yeah, they feed off it.
Yeah, and if you however small an argument may get started, like over just something simple, they will help build that into a more aggressive and infuriating circumstance, because the more agitated they can get you, the more food they got. So think about that next time you get in an argument. You might want to, if you don't know if you have a possession or not, or if you think you may have one, you may want to catch yourself when you see this happening and turn it around and take that away from them. Okay. Okay.
All right. Well, most ghosts are not negative or ill-willed. Through entities with not so good intentions do exist. Through listening to personal experience from those who have been attacked or bothered by negative entities, we have taken note of similarities and wish to share what I know as well as what we are doing in the field during investigations. What I mean by negative entity is a spirit that is not nice to people. In the paranormal world, many ghost investigators are too quick to assume that a negative spirit is a demon. During our investigations, we have found that such spirits are simply human earthbound spirits, typically manifesting as shadow ghosts or dark shadows. So we use the term dark shadows to describe negative entities because their inner condition often matches their outer appearance, though their shape may differ from one account to another. Most typically, shadows that move are human in shape, but can change to becoming larger, smaller, or even be seen as an amorphous blob. Still, no matter the shape, I'm finding such negative entities to be ill-willed human spirits. So, negative entities seem to be able to change their shape, size, as well as appearance. Occasionally, some witness negative shadow ghosts that have red eyes. Sometimes witnesses describe having seen a dark human form morph into a frightening horned entity, demon-like, or having a skull-looking face. Shadow ghosts that appear to be demonic have also been seen making their presence very large to appear more menacing, maybe floating in the air or on the ceiling. When we hear these accounts and apply them to personal investigative experiences, we are finding that negative human spirits seem to have a better grasp of who they are and what they are doing. In other words, these ghosts know they are earthbound spirits, understand enough to be able to alter their appearance, and at times they purposely seek out those in flesh to taunt, torment, abuse, attach to, or influence. It would seem that more they haunt their fearful victims, the more they're able to become adept through practice at doing such things.
Right. That they will, and there's also I will use the term here: dark entities, evil spirits, whatever you want to call them. They're not demons, but they will try to present themselves to you as if they were a demon, therefore putting more fear into you, giving them more to feed off of. So, there's spirits that will try to put themselves off as demons. Demons will try to put themselves off as children. Anything that puts fear into you or weakness into you, as most people love children, right? So you see a child spirit, you're naturally going to want to go, oh, come here, it's okay. And you may very well be welcoming a demon into yourself. So, lots of crazy stuff when you get into this, that you need to be aware of, that you need to pay close attention to and protect yourself from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, continue.
In dealing with negative entities, it is most important to understand that they're simply spirits of humans with bad dispositions and possibly ill intentions. They're not demons. Like you said, everyone's labeling demon, demon, demon.
Yeah.
They're not demons or devils and the like. The source of any negative entity's power is through invoking fear into their victims. If successful, fear will allow a negative entity to gain control over the mind of the person whom they seek to attach to attack or influence. Unfortunately, most people fear what they do not understand, so it is easy for a negative ghost to find fearful victims.
Yep.
Yet we have had a success conducting spirit rescue through working to make negative ghosts understand that there is hope. If we were to look at human beings in general, we should understand that people who attack others do so to low self-esteem. Attack is rooted in fear and is a way to seemingly elevate one's position of standing within their own mind. So why don't you tell us about spirit rescue?
Spirit rescue is about helping a hurting person on the other side. No matter how detestable they may seem to us, although people deep inside want to be loved, not hurting or lacking, and wish to be accepted by others, and I think it's the same way on the other side of the fence, you guys. For we are social creatures, we have found that a majority of people who have remained here as earthbound spirits are afraid of what they do not understand, especially what happens next in their life journey. Ghosts find themselves comfortable with the earthly plane, yet by remaining behind are focused on the past, though seemingly interacting in the present. Explain to negative entities or any ghosts that by staying here they are missing loved ones who want to be with them, and they needlessly suffer by not having inner peace achieved by letting go of the past. This is the key to rescuing spirits successfully. If you have a ghost in your residence or place of business, why not try downloading this audio and playing it for the spirit? Perhaps the entity will find the information helpful and may choose to move on. Remember, most ghosts, including dark shadows, do not have bad intentions, but all ghosts need to be understood as being human spirits who are lost and in need of getting home. Helping the lost is what we should be seeking to do. I agree. Some spirits may not be willing to receive assistance, but we have nothing less to lose in trying to heal every broken soul. I agree totally, and that's the end of our information for tonight. But um, one thing I do want to bring up, and it's another thing that I do not necessarily like, is these places that sell ghost hunts for money. And I could name off oodles and goodles of them: Penhurst, Trans-Allegheny,
Yeah, I don't believe they should
Waverly
benefit off.
Hills. And I've been to Waverly Hills. It is haunted. But they do not want anyone to help any of these spirits cross over. Why? Because you're taking away their livelihood.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not right.
You know, and I don't agree with that. You know, I think if you're there, and some of these places have a lot of spirits in them, the chances that you're going to move or cross over all the spirits in this location is like, what, about 20,000 to 1? So, you know, if you're able to help one spirit over there find peace, I think it should be, you know, you should do that.
They need it. They need to be able to have that help.
A lot of these people in some of these places went through a lot of torture and hell when they were living, and they're still going through it.
Exactly. No, I agree with that.
You know, give them peace, for God's sake. They deserve it. They didn't ask for none of that stuff. Having said this, if there's anything you want to add.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think spirit rescue, you know, is what one should do to help them cross over and let them understand, you know, not so much be in the darkness of their fears and let them cross over to the light. So I think you're absolutely correct when it comes to that.
Okay. Thanks, Real Paranormal, for coming to visit, and I hope you'll come back. Have a good night there in the UK. I know Paul's over there in the UK also. So all you guys that came and hung out with us, although it's extremely late where you are, many, many thanks. We appreciate it very much. Michelle Vanderburn, if I pronounced that right, thanks for coming. Of course, Mary, Meg, Angela, Michelle, everybody over there that I don't see at the present time, we appreciate it. Couldn't do a show without you guys, and we appreciate the support.
Yep. Next week on Paranormal Graveyard, we have Ghost Towns.
And that's going to be cool. I love ghost towns.
Yep.
I love ghost towns. They are awesome. Also on the 22nd, which is a couple of days from now, Half Past Dead Paranormal Radio will be interviewing J.P. Doyle and Just Paranormal, and he's a fun-loving paranormal crazy guy. You guys are gonna love him.
I'm sure we have ghostly stories coming up.
Ghostly Stories will be back on the 29th.
Yeah.
Half Past Dead's just stepping in this Wednesday to interview JP. And then on the 29th, Ghostly Stories will be back for episode 2 of The Return. And I know you guys are going to love that. And hopefully Christine will be able to make it to this one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Problems arose last week, and we all understand that. Everybody has emergencies pop up.
Yeah, this Thursday.
How did everything go? You never told me.
Oh, everything. Yeah, she did what she needed to do, and we got her back home. So everything worked out. But this Thursday we have Beyond the Grave Radio. We're going to be talking with Mars, which is the main afterlife research society, and we're going to talk about Irish Celtic folklore. So that will be a really good show.
So we have a lot of stuff lined up. We have JP on the 22nd. We have Beyond the Grave on the 23rd.
Yep, 23rd.
And then next Monday, of course, you know, the Paranormal Graveyard will be back. And then on the 29th, Ghosts of the Stories will be back. So we have a whole lot of interesting, entertaining stuff for you guys. So just stick around, and we appreciate it very much. With that all being said, I want to say good night to everybody.
Yeah, good night.
Peace, love, and light. And remember some of the things that we brought up here about attachments and all that kind of stuff. Be aware of that. If you think you possibly have one and you catch yourself doing negative things or being angry and all that stuff, turn it around. Use it against them.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Good night, everybody. We'll see y'all on the 22nd.
Good night.